Good morning. Just get yourself set up and find a place to sit and sit quietly. We're going to start with about 2 minutes of just nice, long, deep breathing. The key here is to sit relaxed in whatever position is comfortable for you, with your tongue against the roof of your mouth, and just allow yourself to breathe. This is called diaphragmatic or nasal breathing, and will give you the opportunity to just quiet and center and give yourself some space just to begin. Throughout this practice, just keep your mouth closed with the tongue against the roof of your mouth as best you can. Don't worry about if you have a difficult time. Pause anywhere you need to pause and give yourself the option to slow down. Return to that long, deep breath with your tongue against the roof of your mouth. With your eyes looking up, tilt your chin up towards the ceiling and tilt your chin down towards your sternum. Only go as far as is comfortable for you and never move into pain. Do each one of these movements between 8 and 10 times. Moving to head turns, start with your chin on your sternum and just look up and over your shoulder. Adding on to this, you're going to begin to look over your shoulder and behind you. You can move your arms and allow your body to gently move into a rotation. Again, try to keep your tongue on the roof of your mouth with your mouth closed. With movement, you want to let your eyes lead your head and head lead your body. Separate your feet and begin to drop your knees right and left. Again, we're going to go between 8 and 10 reps. You can always do more and you can always do less. Work on range of motion more so than speed of motion. Roll yourself back. Find a nice place to start and begin to drop your knees right and left again. This is referred to as windshield wipers on the ground. Draw one knee towards your chest and just begin to do some circles clockwise and then counterclockwise. Try between 8 and 10 per side in both directions. Move slowly and give yourself the opportunity to just settle every other part of your body other than your knees. If you're finding that your hip is clicking or your back is uncomfortable, do less or move slower. Putting both feet back on the ground, just lift your heels and lift your toes. We'll begin to move up the body in some simple joint movements. Now begin to tuck and tilt your pelvis. You're really not bringing your hips off the ground very far. Begin to just draw your tailbone between your legs and then roll your spine down. Again, your speed isn't so important. Now turning your head right to left. As you can see, I'm lifting my head, but you can just keep your head on the ground and look to the right and to the left. Taking your arms overhead, begin to swing your arms around. Think of a snow angel with arms. Go at your pace. Notice I'm bringing my arms towards the sky in full range of motion of my shoulders. Be careful to do your range of motion. Switch directions. And let's just play. Maybe one arm goes over the head and one arm comes down. And I'm moving my arms in wider and wider ranges. So I'm also kind of, think of a clock face, or right, taking your right arm over to 2 o'clock, my left arm down to 7 o'clock, and all the way, just to change the position of my arms a bit. Return both arms up and over your head, and I'm just lifting my head and chest, creating a little bit of tension in my core. Make sure you keep the weight of your head in your hands. Try not to force your head forward, just balance. Now bring your knees up, add a little bit of intensity, and keep breathing through your nose with your mouth closed as best you can. Extend one leg, still holding that head up as best you can. Extend the other leg. Draw the first knee into the chest. And then you'll extend both legs out and hold this hollow hold for about 8 to 10 seconds, or as much as you're able. Bring your knees into your chest, and let's do a dead bug. Remember, right arm moves with left leg. It's similar to walking, but on your back. Work your range of motion. Notice my legs aren't lowering down to the ground, but extending up towards the far corner of the room. And my arms are only going as low as my ears are, with my elbows staying fully extended. Now, a slightly more challenging variation, put your right hand on your left knee and just move the other sides, creating tension across the diagonal of the body. Also notice I have my head off the ground, but your head can be on the ground. Switch sides and do the same amount or as best you can on the second side. As well, you can put your head back to the ground if you'd like. Take your arms out to a T, slightly tuck your knees in so your tailbone comes off the ground, and let your knees drop from side to side. You can see how my knees are right in front of my belly button. Add an extended leg. Lower your knees to your right and lift or extend the top knee. Try to keep the knees in line with each other. Again, keep your mouth closed with the tongue against the roof of your mouth, and keep your head relaxed with your arms relaxed on the floor as well. Bring your arms now over your head and your feet flat to the ground. We'll work across the diagonal of the body. The key here is to lift the head first. Pick up the head, look into the general direction of where you want to roll toward, and roll in that direction, reaching just like you had something to grab on the floor. Be gentle. Look, reach, and extend back into position. Now do the same thing, but with your lower body. Extend your legs out, bring one knee into your chest, and roll, and then kick your leg out at the very last. Kind of think of your body as your knee is rolling and reaching toward 3 o'clock and towards 9 o'clock. Taking your hands once again behind your head, lift your head and chest, and we're going to repeat some of these hollow hold positions. Just breathe and create some tension within the core. Lower your head and just rest for a second. Give yourself the time to just reset. Bring your knees up and then return your head back up again. This adds a little more tension. Rest again and just give yourself the opportunity to breathe normal. Don't worry about if you have your tongue against the mouth again. Once again, come back up, head and chest up. Extend both legs now. Again, you don't have to lower them down. They can just be pointed towards the sky or the ceiling. Breathe deep into the belly. Bend your knees and rest again. Once more, bring your knees up, bring your head up. Now bring your arms down by your sides. This creates more tension down the length of the back. Again, your mouth is closed and your tongue against the roof of your mouth, so you're breathing to the width of your rib cage. Lower your feet and your head and rest for a moment. Bring your knees back up. Bring your arms back in line with the outside of your knees. Then, as you're ready, take your arms overhead. Your arms don't go any lower than your ears, and your legs don't go any lower that you can hold them. Be gentle with yourself and work towards more. Lower your head again and just rest. Let's move to our side now. Knees are bent, and you're just going to pull your top knee back for a little quadricep stretch. Be aware to not slump into your shoulder or your rib cage on the lower side. Keep your head up in line with your torso so your head isn't hanging towards the ground. And then reposition yourself and do the other side. Remember, you're holding for about 8 to 10 seconds. Not very long. Keep that head up, get long in the body, and breathe through the nose. Return back to the first side, and we're going to lift the hips up this time. So angle the knees back towards the body, lift the hips up with your top hand on your ear. Just make sure your head isn't hanging. And we'll repeat again on the second side. Hold these for about 8 to 10 seconds. Now we're transitioning right to all fours. This is called an 8-point plank. Forearms, elbows, knees, and toes all on the ground. Notice the length of the back. Just keep your shoulders and hips in line. Press into the floor and breathe deep and slowly, controlling and contracting your core. Walk your elbows back to your knees. Give your lower back a little stretch. And we're going to begin knees rocking. Your toes can be pointed back, or your toes can be curled under, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Remember, you're going at a pace that's comfortable for you. After knees rocking on our hands, we're going to go to knees rocking on our forearms, which is always an option if this creates pain in the wrist. What rocking does is it helps to connect you to all of your joints, even the spine, the knees, and the ankles. We're going to alternate between elbows and knees. Rock back, drop your elbows in, rock forward, rock back, come up to your hands, and repeat. On the last return to your arms, we're going to begin to do knees rocking from circle point of view. So you're just going to take a nice circle around. You can move your head all you want. Just keep your head from hanging between your shoulders. Circle clockwise and counterclockwise. Now single arm, knees rocking. This creates a little more connection again in the core. You're going to feel the load in that left arm and do your best with your right hand. Place your right hand or your opposite hand wherever it needs to go. If taking your arm into internal rotation is just too much for your shoulders. And now bird dog. Reaching out right arm and left leg. Pause in your end range. Try to keep your foot flexed and your hand reaching out like you're shaking somebody's hand. Try to have your arm and your leg moving and pausing at the same time. Breathe gently and easily with your tongue against the roof of your mouth, mouth closed. On the last one, just lower yourself to the ground. Rest for a moment, and let's begin a quarter roll from the lower half of our body first. Just like when we were on our back, you're going to allow your leg to move over the midline of your body towards the opposite side. Pick up your heel, then pick up your knee, and then roll all the way over. Try to keep your hands on the ground and feel that beautiful rotation from your right shoulder to your left hip. This next movement is a silly one. It's called a frog. And what you're going to do is as you roll, you're going to bring that same side elbow and touch your knee. Don't roll all the way to your back, and breathe, and that's going to help you control your movement, as well as kind of keeping the hand that's on the ground pressing down. I almost fell over a couple of times doing this. Try to just go right side touches and then roll, and then left elbow touches left knee and roll back. Again, 8 to 10 on each side. Now the upper body. This is one of the best rolls. It's almost like swimming on the ground. Open the chest, let your knee come up and just release the movement. Just feel the beauty of this movement. Remember, mouth closed, tongue against the roof of the mouth. Let's return to our stomach. Come to a TV watching position, pushing your forearms into the ground. Let's just nod the head in this upright position here. Nodding the head really helps us to connect to the front and back line of the body, breathing and easing the body. If this is challenging for you, you can move the elbows forward and wider to lower yourself down. Now we're going to sit back on our heels and turn and look around ourselves, giving yourself that rotation at the rib cage. Change positions, and let's pull the knees into the chest for a little tight squat and a roll through the lower back. It's kind of like you're rolling like a little ball back and forth. Do your best. And you can do knees rocking instead if this is too much flexion for your knees. When you're done, let's just drop one knee at a time. You can move and have your hands touching the ground. You can also do this from a chair where your hands would be up on a chair and you would just drop one knee at a time, so have more stability. The less you have your hands on the ground, the more challenging this movement is going to be, but you're pretty warmed up for it now. Just stretch that lower back. It feels so nice. Sitting back on our hips, I'm just taking one leg in front and then the other leg back. This is just a 90-90 switch with an added leg extension for hamstring stretching. Remember, stretching and mobilization are two very different things. Stretching you hold for long periods of time, where mobilization you keep the joints moving. Now just switching from front to back. And again, you can have your hands on the ground as much as you need to, or keep them off for a little more core work. Keep breathing, tongue against the roof of your mouth, mouth closed. Rotate the knees right and turn right. Rotate the knees left and turn left. I like to move my head with this, and so I really get a very nice rotation all the way around. Notice how I'm laying and now bringing my arm underneath my body, adding thoracic rotation. Now I'm just folding over my front leg, whichever leg you're on. Just fold over the top of the leg between the knee and the hip, rotate, go to the other side. Hold each one of these stretches 8 to 10 seconds again. They should feel wonderful. Let's bring those legs back to the front, and we're going to just finish where we started. Upright seated posture. This may feel very comfortable now. Mouth closed, tongue against the roof of the mouth, just gently and slowly breathing. Remember, breathing is our best reset. If you want to reset the mind, the body, your stress levels, go and find a place to just sit and rest and breathe. Believe it or not, I'm not really thinking about much. I'm just sitting and breathing.